Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Today we will be reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, first chapter, text number 18. Niyached Vishayabhyakshan Manasa Buddhi Saratihi Manah Karma Virakshiptam Shubharte Dharayedhya. Translation purport by Arjuna Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Gradually, as the mind becomes progressively spiritualized, withdraw it from sense activities, and by intelligence the senses will be controlled. The mind, too absorbed in mental activities, can be engaged in the service of the personality of Godhead and become fixed in full transcendental consciousness. Purport. The first process of spiritualizing the mind by mechanical chanting of the Pranava Omkara and by control of the breathing system is technically called the mystic or yogic process of pranayama, or fully controlling the breathing air. The ultimate state of this pranayama system is to be fixed in trance, technically called a samadhi. But experience has proven that even the samadhi stage also fails to control the materially absorbed mind. For example, the great mystic Vishwamitra Muni, even in the stage of samadhi, became a victim of the senses and cohabited with Menaka. History has already recorded this. The mind, although ceasing to think of sensual activities at present, remembers past sensual activities from the subconscious states and thus disturbs one from 100% engagement in self-realization. Therefore, Sukadeva Goswami recommends the next step of assured policy, namely to fix one's mind in the service of the personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. The Supreme Personality of Godhead also recommends this direct process in the Bhagavad Gita 6.47. Thus, the mind being spiritually cleansed, one should at once engage himself in the transcendental loving service of the Lord by the different devotional activities of hearing, chanting, etc. If performed under proper guidance, that is the surest path of progress even for the disturbed mind. So we are in the beginning of the second canto here. So at the end of the first canto, Parikshit Maharaj has asked a question to Sukadeva Goswami, which forms the context for the second canto and further cantos. Parikshit Maharaj questions to Sukadeva Goswami that, please let me know what a man should hear, chant, remember, worship, and also what he should not do. Please explain all of this to me. Basically, Parikshit Maharaj is having only 7 days time to meet his death. An advance notice has been given to him, so he is preparing himself. But while preparing himself, we should understand here, he is not preparing alone. He is taking advices from the great devotees, the great saints. So in that sense, he has not used his own mind or his own intelligence here, but he is inquiring from the greatest personality at the time, Sukadeva Goswami. He wanted to know everything that a man should do, more importantly when death is very close. Sukadeva Goswami replies with the first verse at the beginning of the second canto, saying that this question is very glorious because it is very beneficial to all kinds of people. This is the difference between a materialistic person and a Vaishnava. A Vaishnava, the question put by Maharaj Parikshit in a Vaishnava aptitude, and the one who is answering Sukadeva Goswami is a very great devotee. So, when Maharaj Parikshit is questioning, he is asking what a man should do. He is not asking what I should do or what is my immediate action. He is asking for the benefit of everybody. And Sukadeva Goswami is also equally responding that this question is very glorious because it is beneficial to all kinds of people, not just to you alone, but to everybody. So then he explains that further. I will explain to you, I will narrate to you the entire Srimad Bhagavatam which I have heard from my father Srila Vyasadeva. Because Srimad Bhagavatam is a transcendental subject matter, this will be the perfect answer to your question. And further, Sukadeva Goswami goes on to say that persons who are materially engrossed have many subject matters. There are too many subject matters to be discussed. People talk about so many things. Like in the current times we see there are so many social media channels are there, so many platforms are there which they are overloaded with knowledge, information. So if you wish to learn anything, there's a lot of material. But there are some things which we should differentiate. That's what Sukadeva Goswami is saying here. Materially engrossed persons have too many subject matters for hearing, but they don't inquire into what they are supposed to inquire, basically to solve the fundamental problems in life: birth, death, old age and disease. This is what they are not really interested in, but they are interested in solving temporary problems. So those subject matters is not going to help us in any way. So what Sukadeva Goswami is going to convey is far different from the solutions to the temporary problems, but solutions to the permanent problems. Why they don't inquire into the permanent problems of life is because Sukadeva Goswami is saying here again, it is because they are engrossed in materialistic way of life and they are also dependent on the fallible soldiers like the body, the children, the wife, husband, family, friends. So they want to be more, financially stable or develop more relations, more friends, etc., etc. In a chase to these dreams, they forget the fundamental problems. One who desires to be free from all the material problems, we should be only interested in only one subject matter. He is declaring it. There is only one subject matter that we should be interested in. Shrotavyah kirtitavyah smartavyah chechatha bhayam. Tasmad bharata sarva atma bhagavan ishvaro harihi. Our entire subject matter, topic of discussion, topic of contemplation, topic of meditation, everything should be around Bhagavan Ishvaro Harihi. This should be the only subject matter. There should not be any other subject matter. Because only the topics of Hari or Lord Krishna are going to save us from all the material miseries. It is not that because Parikshit Maharaj is at the verge of death, maybe that is why it is required for him. Of course, for a person who is nearing death, it is definitely required 100%, but it is not only meant for him, it is meant for everybody else. And after we grew our anxiousness, hearing more about what should be the end result is obtained only when, as Sukadeva Goswami says, Ante Narayana Smritihi. Everybody is aware of this. Who doesn't know? Everyone who comes to ISKCON or who doesn't come to ISKCON, who goes to a temple, everybody knows that our chanting, our hearing, everything is towards one goal, Ante Narayana Smriti. This is all that we are really wanting. Rest of the things are, some way or other we try to do. But this is the main goal. How do we remember Krishna at the end of life? So what is the importance of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam? Why should we hear Srimad Bhagavatam? Either daily or weekly, whenever we come to ISKCON like this on Sunday programs, or open a book and read at home. There should be some fundamental principles which help us understand why should we do it every day. So, Sukadeva Goswami is very clearly explaining in the 10th verse, one who gives full attention and respect to hearing Srimad Bhagavatam achieves unflinching faith in Supreme Lord. We have experienced or we have seen that people have lot of faith in some things. For example, money. Money can solve any kind of problem. So earn lot of money as much as possible. For that extent, whatever qualification is required, whatever skill set is required, develop, acquire, train, employ. And we have seen also that money helps in many respects. But recently, the wealthiest person in the world, Elon Musk, has commented saying, the one who said that happiness cannot be gotten from money has spoken it right. Money cannot give happiness. It will give you some facilities, anything that you don't have, you want. It will provide all of those things. But happiness is not in those facilities or the sense objects. Krishna explains it very clearly in Bhagavad Gita. Happiness is not in the sense objects. Then where is happiness? Anybody can say? Where is happiness? That's okay. Where exactly is happiness? By chanting you get happiness. Serving Krishna. There are so many devotees who are serving Krishna, but they are not exactly happy. What did Krishna say in Bhagavad Gita? Where exactly is happiness? By surrendering. By remembering. Where do you remember? Where is this remembering happening? Exactly. Happiness is in the mind. It is not in the sense object. This is what Krishna is explaining in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is trying to, you see, all of us try to gain something. When you open a book and read, you want to gain something. So Prabhupada said once, when his Western disciples, he went to one of the temple. Prabhupada was keep moving from one temple to other temple, instruct devotees how to be engaged in devotional service. Then when Prabhupada has reached one of the temple, he saw that devotees have collected a lot of books. So many books are there and they keep on reading. Then Prabhupada replied that, see, you Americans, you keep on reading too much, but don't dwell on one subject. It is enough to read one book or one page or one verse. Go depth into the subject. Because our mind wants every time fresh, newer. Something new. But Prabhupada is saying that doesn't give you happiness. That will only chase you more and more. Instead, you should be happy with simply chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. It is only one mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Prabhupada said, I am writing so many books, not exactly, to make you philosophically strong, intellectually more enriched, so that you can defeat others, establish some principles, become scholars, nothing like that. Prabhupada's intention was none of that. The reason for him to write so many books is only to convince all of us to do only one activity, one anga of the devotional service, that is to make us chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That's all. Just to bring about conviction within us for constantly chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Prabhupada has given us so many books. So, Sukadeva Goswami is mentioning in the 10th verse here that the result of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam should be to achieve unflinching faith in the Supreme Lord Krishna. We have faith, all of us have faith. That is how we are here. Rupa Goswami has explained this. The 9 stages of devotional service. It starts with Adhava Shraddha, tender faith. It's a beginning faith. So all of us have come here because we wanted to hear about Krishna, know about Bhakti Yoga. But the beginning, how we began, is by coming in touch with one of the devotees or getting a copy of a book of Srila Prabhupada, or having heard of some Vaishnava songs or Hare Krishna Sankirtan. With our tender faith, we have started devotional service. But that faith is not enough, to hold on to whatever Srila Prabhupada is saying. Constantly chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, or developing taste in reading Srila Prabhupada books, or developing taste in engaging devotional service, festivals, whatever it is. That tender faith is not enough. Our faith has to improve. So Sukadeva Goswami is suggesting here that if we have to improve our faith from tender faith to unflinching faith, then we have to hear more about Krishna. That is why Sukadeva Goswami is giving us this transcendental literature, Srimad Bhagavatam. Then further Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport, who exactly is a devotee of Krishna? If we say that I am a devotee of Krishna, if you proclaim that I am a devotee of Krishna, Srila Prabhupada is explaining something very important. All of us should have this or develop this quality. A devotee of Lord Krishna is he who believes sincerely that by becoming a devotee of Lord, one becomes fully equipped into everything spiritual. When we become a devotee of the Lord Krishna, everything within us becomes spiritual, everything outside also becomes spiritual. We are no more acting on a material platform. If we think we are acting on the material platform, if we think that, why should I chant 16 rounds? It is too tiring, too boring. Then you will never feel, because you are thinking on the material platform. If you think that my chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra as directed by Srila Prabhupada is an offering to Lord Krishna. It is not for my pleasure. It is for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna. So when we do it as an offering, then we don't have an expectation, right? When you don't have an expectation, that is when it becomes an offering. This is what Srila Prabhupada is saying. Don't keep an expectation, then it becomes as an offering. Then you develop taste for chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That means you step away from the material platform and you step into the transcendental platform, and you start experiencing the taste, the transcendental real taste. And further Srila Prabhupada says, Bhagavad Gita is describing Lord Krishna is everything. As Krishna says, Mattah paratarananyat kinchidasti dhananjaya. There is no superior truth than me. Everything is resting upon me just as pearls are strung on a thread. So Krishna is the superior truth. He has described this in the Bhagavad Gita. Now, having an unflinching faith on this or every instruction in Bhagavad Gita prepares one to to become a real student of Srimad Bhagavatam. That is why Srila Prabhupada said, for a devotee who is interested in following Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we have a list of books given to us, but first we should read Bhagavad Gita, then we should go to Srimad Bhagavatam. So Prabhupada is explaining, one can become a qualified student of Srimad Bhagavatam only when we develop unflinching faith in the instructions Lord Krishna has given to us in Bhagavad Gita. If we have not developed faith in Krishna's words, then when we read Bhagavatam, we will not develop any faith. We will be considering these are some stories, some mythical stories, not true facts. We don't find any reciprocations in our life. But when you start developing, believing, hearing, then meditating, and then developing faith on the words of Krishna, then we see that Krishna reciprocates in our life. In the present purport, Sukadeva Goswami is saying something very important, which Prabhupada also has highlighted in the purport. Whatever Sukadeva Goswami has mentioned, Srila Prabhupada has highlighted in the purport that still now Sukadeva Goswami has been talking about meditation on Omkara in the previous verse. But then here, he goes one step ahead and says, the buddhi, the intelligence, which is basically the driver in this body, as Krishna explained in Bhagavad Gita, that in the 6th chapter, 34th verse, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, the Vedic literatures it is said, Atmanam Rathinam Vidhi, Shariram Rathamevacha, Buddhintu Sarathim Vidhi, Manah Pragrahamevacha, Indriyani Hayanyahur Vishayams, Thesha Gocharan, Atmendhya Manoyukto, Bhokteti Ahur Manishinaha. The individual, that's basically we, the spirit soul, is a passenger in the car of the material body. This material body is like a machine, a car, and we are the passengers in this car. The intelligence is the driver. Our intelligence is driving. Which direction we have to go? What should I do? What is my goal? What is my aspiration? Intelligence is driving this. Mind is the driving instrument, and the senses are the horses. There are horses, and horses are tied to the vehicle with the reins. So these reins are the mind. The self is thus enjoyer or sufferer in the association of the mind and the senses. If the mind, intelligence is there, and now the passenger is saying, go in this direction, go to the right. When intelligence hears this, go to the right, then it naturally, a faithful driver, what does he do? He takes the control of the reins and then directs the horses towards the direction as said by the passenger. But in the present case, in this verse also, it is said, the self is thus enjoyer or sufferer. If the mind is in control, senses are in control, if the vehicle is moving in the right direction, then we enjoy. If the mind is not in control, senses are not in control, if we leave everything loose, then intelligence cannot control the mind and senses. It is not possible. Then we suffer. So it is, everything is there at the level of intelligence. This is what Shastra is explaining. The same thing, whatever Krishna has explained in Bhagavad Gita, the next are how do we engage the mind, the intelligence and the senses. Sukadeva Goswami is explaining in the current verse that Manasa Buddhi Saratihi, the intelligence has to become the driver. It should take control as a driver does. And how to do that? The mind, too absorbed in material activities, can be engaged in the service of the personality of Godhead and become fixed in transcendental consciousness. So Sukadeva Goswami is saying, in the previous verse as it is said, one may meditate on Omkara. That is okay. But meditation on Omkara cannot happen. As Prabhupada explains that even a person who has a great sage, who has attained Samadhi, to the stage of Samadhi, like Vishwamitra Muni, he became a victim of the senses. When Menaka came in front of Vishwamitra Muni, immediately his senses got agitated and he couldn't be in the Samadhi anymore. His Samadhi is disturbed. So even a person of that stature who has practiced for so long and could control his mind and senses got disturbed. So that is why Sukadeva Goswami is mentioning here, we should engage in the service of the personality of Godhead. Meditation is alone not enough. Many people think, or when they hear or read from the Srila Prabhupada books, just chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra is enough. Definitely, that's what Shastra is also saying, just chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra is enough to achieve liberation or come out of the material miseries, or to go to Vaikuntha Loka or Goloka Vrindavan, whatever it is. Just chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra is enough. But then why did Srila Prabhupada give so many services? Why did he build so many temples, book distribution, book marathon? Why all of these things? That is what exactly Sukadeva Goswami is mentioning here. Just meditation is not enough because our mind is not trained. Our intelligence is not purified. Our senses are not controlled. To come to a stage where just by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra we can spend 24 hours in a day. To come to that stage, first you have to control, purify your consciousness, control your senses, mind and senses. Equip your intelligence with all the transcendental subject matters. That is why Srila Prabhupada has given us all the various kinds of devotional service. It seems very difficult to engage in service. It is rather easier to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, but we cannot chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra until and unless we are engaged in physical service. It is not possible. Because mind is disturbed, mind cannot. Just like an analogy is given that you see people riding on the horse. That's how the transportation was earlier, before invention of the combustion engines. But how easy is it to sit on the horse and ride it? If it is an untrained horse, it is impossible. It will never allow you to get on it, on its back. A horse cannot be controlled. It is very, very difficult. They are called as wild horses. So what do the training, those who give training to the horses, what do? First they break the horse. Basically they train the horse. They tame it. For a long time they have to tame it. Because it has never been trained. So you have to train it first for a long time. Once it is trained, then the passenger can get onto the back of the horse, and then they can ride the horse. Without training, it is not practical. This is the analogy that is given by the great acharyas, saying our mind is similarly like a wild horse. We have left it loose all the while. Not only in this life, in the previous life, for millions of life we have left it loose. And suddenly now when we have heard that you should chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra to get rid of all the problems in the life, to get liberation, to go to Vaikuntha, to achieve Krishna, immediately we take up Japamala and we start chanting. But when we chant, it is a wild horse. We see that it is not listening to us. We think about so many problems, so much situations. And then Kala also works in the similar way. If we are interested, it will help us. If we are not interested, it will take us away from the chanting. It is so easy. So that is the reason why we have to first to train our mind. We have, as explained by Sukadeva Goswami here, we have intelligence as a driver, then mind and senses the passenger. We are the passenger, the spirit soul. We have a desire to engage in devotional service. But the intelligence is not purified, mind is not trained, senses are uncontrolled. So for this reason, each one of the element we have to take charge. How is this possible? Srila Prabhupada says, like any other yoga systems, we need not individually train each and every sense or mind or intelligence. Everything collectively we can train in Bhakti Yoga. This is the unique feature or advantage in Bhakti Yoga, where by engaging in devotional service to Lord Krishna, everything will be purified, controlled, consciousness will be purified, mind will be controlled, senses will be controlled. That is how Prabhupada has given us a very powerful sadhana system. Every day in the morning, we wake up for the Mangalarti and sing Samsara Dhavan Analita Loka. And then afterwards, chanting 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And then after that, attending Darshanarati, again singing the glories of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Krishna, then hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. After which, honoring Krishna Prasadam. So, then engaging in practical devotional service. So, every anga, whatever Prabhupada has given us, is designed in such a way, separately we need not endeavor either to purify the intelligence or control the mind or senses. But certain things are very specific. Practical devotional service is specific to controlling the mind and the senses. If you are not doing practical devotional service, then your mind and senses will not be controlled. If you are not reading Srila Prabhupada books, then your intelligence cannot be purified. Because intelligence is already equipped with so much material matter. Lot of knowledge, information is already, we have loaded it. Now, to purify it, we have to load spiritual knowledge. Spiritual knowledge, where do we get? From the scriptures. So, we have to read Srila Prabhupada books every day without fail. That is one of his instructions, right? As Krishna has explained in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna says, basically Krishna says that you have to practice yoga in the 6th chapter, Sankhya Yoga. You have to go to an isolated state, sit on kusha grass, meditate, with your eyes half closed, look at the tip of the nose and meditate on the Paramatma. But then Arjuna says it is not possible, it is not practical. Even I may control the air, but I cannot control the mind. It is so difficult, it is obstinate. It is very, very difficult, not possible, not practical. That is when Krishna says, Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyecha grihyate. It is possible, but we have to do it with practice and detachment. This is the only way out. So, when Prabhupada says, like when we do Prabhupada Ashraya program, we take oath. I chant 2 mala of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, or 4, 8 or 16 mala of Hare Krishna Mahamantra every day. Not 1 week, 2 week, 1 month, 1 year. We take an oath to take up chanting every day. That is what Krishna is saying here in the 6th chapter. That abhyasena ta kaunteya vairagena cha gruhyate. Abhyasa means with practice. Every day we have to practice this. Some people ask, okay, in the beginning maybe it is true, we have to practice every day. But maybe after some years, I think we can give it away. It's not required, right? We also see in many channels or many other sects of religion talking in the similar way that initially you need to practice many things, but then later on you can give it up. Everything can be given it up because you have controlled it now. Your mind is under control. You are away from the material disturbance. So you can give away all your old practices. Nothing is required. But Prabhupada doesn't agree to that. The Vaishnava Siddhanta, it is said, even if you are become a pure devotee, even if you become a liberated soul, still you should continue to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That is what Prabhupada did practically. He is a messenger of God, he is a pure devotee, but still he was chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra every day. Why do we do that? What is the necessity? When you become liberated, you may give it up. So, see here, Srila Prabhupada very distinctly defines bhakti. When Prabhupada is translating bhakti, he didn't write bhakti as devotion. This is what generally people write. If you see a literal translation of a Sanskrit translation, you see bhakti as devotion. But Prabhupada translated bhakti as devotional service. So in the Gaudiya Vaishnava system, this is what our Vaishnava Acharyas are trying to explain to us, to convince us to develop faith in rendering service to Krishna. Service is not a thing, that is required to purify your senses, control your mind. No. When we are here in this world, in this material body, we engage in devotional service. After we are liberated also, we get a spiritual body, and there, in the association of Krishna, we engage in devotional service. So service doesn't stop. We only give away material work and then take up spiritual service. So this is the reason why even Sukadeva Goswami is explaining here that we have to engage in the service of personality of Godhead. There is no other option, there is no escape. It is not only, many people think it is only for the beginners. Or maybe I will do it next year, maybe after 2 years, when I develop taste. Prabhupada once said, once he has gone to one temple, and then all the devotees have offered obeisance, but one devotee was not offering obeisance. He was standing and watching others. And Prabhupada asked, what happened? He said, no, I don't feel like offering obeisance. It's okay. You can still offer obeisance. Now, maybe I'll get acquainted, I'll get acclimatized some more time and understand a little bit of philosophy, then maybe I'll do. Doesn't matter. Offer obeisance. So when you offer obeisance today, then tomorrow you will develop taste for offering obeisance. If you don't offer obeisance today, you cannot develop taste tomorrow. So if you feel like, why should I read Srila Prabhupada books? I have not developed taste. What is the use of reading? So much 1 hour, half an hour work. Time is going away out of my valuable time. Maybe if I can work or do some business or this, that, maybe I'll get little more money. Some advantage, some benefit is there. By reading Srila Prabhupada books, what benefit is there? So that is what. If we think in this manner, then we will never read. We can never develop taste for reading Srila Prabhupada books. Reading Prabhupada books is meant to equip our intelligence with transcendental consciousness. Because that is the only way out. Reading is nothing but another form of hearing. So only by hearing from the mouth of the pure devotees, that is reading Srila Prabhupada books, only then our intelligence can be equipped. It can be purified, our consciousness can be purified. So reading Srila Prabhupada books is very, very essential for us. There is no escape. In the Soulful Japa sessions, Mother Pandit Prabhu has brought about one very nice principle how we should be, what should be our state of mind, or how can we constantly meditate on Krishna. There is one technique Mother Pandit Prabhu has said. It is, anybody remembers what is the technique? SMDA. Yes. Yeah. Exactly. So by following this technique, it is very much possible to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra without break, without getting disturbed, without diverting our mind. It is called as Shravanam, Mananam, Dhyanam, Anushilanam, SMDA in short. Shravanam, that is what we have been doing. Even now we are hearing. It is Shravanam. We hear a lot actually, you see. It is not that we don't hear. We hear a lot, we hear. When we read also, we are hearing internally. But what's happening after that? Let us say after 24 hours, somebody comes and asks you, what did you read yesterday? Oh, maybe one line, maybe one word. If you are lucky enough, maybe one verse or one stanza you will remember. Rest of the thing is evaporated. Maybe I thought maybe it is happening only with me, but when we inquire from others, you see everybody is facing the same situation. After Shravanam, we are not progressing further. Many devotees ask, Prabhuji, we have been practicing for not less than 5 years, not less than 10 years, not less than 15 years. But we don't experience or we don't see any progress in spiritual life. That is because out of this SMDA technique, only first one we are doing, that is Shravanam. After that, we are not progressing. If we progress here, that is, if we get on to the next stage, that is Mananam, then next Dhyanam, then Anushilanam, then we will see progress in spiritual life. If we only do Shravanam, then it gets evaporated. That's the problem. That is why Mananam. Mananam means reflecting or contemplating. What did I read? What did I hear? What are the glories of Krishna? What are the qualities of Krishna? We should do Mananam. We should do contemplation. If we don't do contemplation on Krishna, Prabhupada said, we will contemplate on Maya. Maya is readily there to catch our, the power of attention. Basically, it is readily available. Maya is readily there to grab our attention. So that is why we have to contemplate on Krishna. Mananam is very much required. It is the next stage after Shravanam. And then further comes Dhyanam. Dhyanam means fix our mind. Fix our mind. Dhyu Dhyanam. So when we are chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, that is what we are doing. We are doing Dhyanam. But mind, we see that it is moving away. So to fix our mind, we should have done enough contemplation. Without contemplation, we cannot fix our mind. Dhyanam. We cannot come to the stage of Dhyanam without Mananam. So dhyanam is very important. To fix the mind, first we should have heard sufficiently about Krishna, about holy names, about his qualities, about Vaishnavas, about Srila Prabhupada. Then have contemplated sufficiently on this subject, then we can do dhyanam sufficiently. Without disturbance, we can chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Now this dhyanam is not only while you are chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, but otherwise also when you are doing any devotional service, dhyanam is a part. And then Anushilanam. Finally, the last thing is following by practice. Whatever you have heard, whatever you have learnt, now it is time to practice. So when you put into practice, that is the fourth stage. If you don't do the other three and directly come to practice again, then there is a problem. You have not heard sufficiently, you have not contemplated, and you have not fixed your mind, and then you come directly to practice, you will not develop taste. Where is the taste? There is no foundation. Without foundation, you can't build a structure, right? It will fall down. So that is how, stage by stage, step by step, we have to progress. A lot of knowledge Krishna has given us in Bhagavad Gita, and further he has made available further his Leelas activities in Srimad Bhagavatam. There is a lot of knowledge available. But Srila Prabhupada says, he gives one pastime, one story. When Prabhupada was going on a morning walk, he stops suddenly and says, once Lord Shiva and Parvati, in a normal Brahmana dress, they were just walking. When they are walking, then Mother Parvati sees one beggar. He is begging for alms. But Shiva is not paying attention. Shiva is just passing by. Then Mother Parvati stops and says, why don't you offer something to him? You see, he needs some help. Shiva says, he is very unfortunate soul. Even if you offer, I don't think he will be able to utilize. And Shiva continues to move forward. Then Mother Parvati again stops and says, fine, you give something to him and let us see. And then somehow on the request of Parvati, Shiva gives one watermelon to that beggar. But inside the watermelon, he has filled all jewels, gold, everything. Full treasure is there inside. Outside it is watermelon. He gives it to the beggar. Beggar will receive it. But after looking at the watermelon, he will be thinking, what will I do with this? He will go to some shopkeeper and sell it there. It's few cents. Shopkeeper will receive it. When he cuts and sees, oh my goodness. But the poor beggar, he couldn't utilize it. So this is what Srila Prabhupada is trying to explain to us. Krishna has given us knowledge in the form of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, but we, the poor souls, we are thinking, what will I do with this? What will I get with this? We do a lot of book distribution. Number 1, number 2, topmost, the best book distributor. So Prabhupada, from this narration, Srila Prabhupada is trying to enforce on us that it is very good that we are all distributing Srila Prabhupada books. Definitely, words of pure devotee, when somebody receives and reads that book, his life will be transformed. At the same time, it is also very important for us to read Srila Prabhupada books, not just be involved in practical some services. We should also read, because only by reading Srila Prabhupada books, our intelligence will be equipped with transcendental consciousness. with this wonderful narration, Srila Prabhupada explained to his devotees how reading is very important. Not reading means, again, Prabhupada has already explained in the previous analogy that reading too many books is not important. Read little, contemplate, fix your mind, go into the depth of what Krishna is trying to explain, and then practice it. That is very important. And Srila Prabhupada has given, see, all of us have desire to render service. We all wish to render service. But how should this desire be dovetailed? Or what should be our aptitude in rendering service to Krishna? What kind of feeling should we have when we are rendering service to Krishna? So Prabhupada has given one nice illustration. In a village, there is one villager. He has seen so many kinds of people. Enough of associating with all of these people. There is no use. Wherever they are, they will be in that position only. So let me go and find somebody who is the best. Anyway, I have to render service. I have to do some job, this, that. Let me go and serve the best. So in the village, he found that, the leader in the village, he is the powerful person. Visibly the best. So he went and approached the leader of the village and said, "Sir, I would like to serve you." The leader is very happy. Oh, I got a follower now. This is what we all wanted, right, in this world. I need somebody who can help me. We will welcome immediately. Whenever a politician comes, he never comes alone. He will come with so many people. They are all his followers. So this leader is also very happy. He employs him in the service. And then one day, the leader goes, the tax collector. The tax collector comes to the village and then collects taxes. And he will be commanding on the village leader. So this servant sees that the tax collector is more powerful than the village leader. He seems to be collecting taxes from so many villages, demanding from them, commanding them. So he is more powerful. So he goes to the village leader and says, Sir, please excuse me. I would like to serve this tax collector. Please engage me in his service. Please give your recommendation. And then the village leader gives the recommendation, and then he is employed as a servant to the tax collector. Few days passes by, and the tax collector, one day, he goes to the king and offers obeisances. And whatever taxes he has collected, he is submitting to the king. That's what tax collector's job is. Submit it to the king, the ruler, the emperor. And when the villager saw that king is more powerful than the tax collector, immediately he went and offered obeisances and surrendered, submitted himself to the king. He said, "My dear king, can I be engaged in your service?" So king is pleased and he is employed in the service. He becomes the best servant of the king. Because after all, the desire of the villager is to serve the best. And he found the best person, the king. After a few days, he observed that king disappeared from the kingdom for a few days. And then when the king came back, he understood that king has gone to forest to serve an ascetic, a sage. So immediately the villager inquired from the king, "Can I know the whereabouts of this ascetic, the sage?" I went to the forest, surrendered to that sage and asked, "My dear sir, I understand that you are more powerful than a king. Please engage me in your service." The sage replied, "You see, I am a very insignificant person." This is a talk from a realized person. The head of the village, the tax collector, the king, they are not realized souls. They are thinking they are the doers. Whereas the sage, is a realized person, he has immediately replied that I am an insignificant servant person and I am a servant of the Supreme Lord Krishna. When he heard this, then he inquired, who is Krishna? Where do I find Krishna? Then the sage directed him to a nearby temple. So the villager has gone to the temple and started serving Krishna in the temple. So finally, he became a servant of Krishna and achieved perfection in his life. So by this illustration, Srila Prabhupada is trying to give us that we have been trying serving so many people outside, but having come to ISKCON temple today, without, like this villager, we have not served so many people to find out, to inquire who is Krishna. By Prabhupada's mercy, we have got the information that Krishna is the Supreme Lord and he is available at this place and he is ready to engage all of us in his service. So what is pending is only our inclination, our determination. We have to increase our faith in rendering service to Krishna. So with this, Parikshit Maharaj, the primary answer to Parikshit Maharaj given by Sukadeva Goswami to his question that what should we hear, what should we chant, what should we remember, and whom should we worship. So Sukadeva Goswami has answered here that in the previous verses he answered that we should hear about Hari, and here he has answered that we have to engage in the devotional service of Supreme Lord Krishna. And further Srila Prabhupada has explained that it is not just enough to meditate on Krishna because our senses are not controlled, our mind is not controlled, our intelligence is not purified. So it is very much required for us to engage in the practical devotional service. So with this, we'll close here. Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.